Hello and welcome to Heads Up, your one-stop show for all things related to education, careers, startups and a lot more. Week after week, we've been bringing to you all that you've asked for and a lot more than that. Starting this week, every Monday, we will bring you face-to-face with the who's who from the world of education, top recruiters and big decision makers on Education Dialogues.
Skill training, providing secure jobs and encouraging entrepreneurship. How is the government getting ready for an innovative and job-ready India? Today on Education Dialogues, we speak to the Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Rajiv Pratap Rudy, to find out. Sir, India is one of the youngest nations in the world with half of its populations below 30 years of age. What, according to you, inspires entrepreneurs in India?
Well, this is one field which is being ventured into now. And entrepreneurship is one aspect which is not to be done in isolation. And I believe ever since this Ministry of Entrepreneurship and Skill Development was created. But if you look into the figures today as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, out of the whole world average, we stand out of 79 countries which was assessed, we stand 74. Innovation out of 125 countries assessed, we stand 62. And access to finance in the G20, we stand 11th in the 20 countries. So if you see any parameters, it's entrepreneurship is one which creates enterprises, and enterprises are those which offer employment. And this is one aspect which is being addressed under the new ministry, and I think we have made a headway. But the startups, whether it's incubation, whether it's angel investment, all this which is still to flag itself as far as the economy is concerned. But the government is committed today to get into entrepreneurship, and that we are doing in a big way.
Given there's enough room for entrepreneurs in the country, do you see any challenges that we still face?
Yes, when we're talking about demographic dividends, when you're talking about the huge youth force which is in this country, and we're talking about talents, this is a challenge which has to come, and we have to match this requirement with government support. And I think Government of India, Mr. Modi's government, is all keen to see that entrepreneurship and innovation becomes a part of the industry.
What are your views on social entrepreneurship? It's definitely
social entrepreneurship so far is committed to government or philanthropic organizations, but a new innovation in social entrepreneurship, which is for profit but for social innovation, is a concept which I'm here for today.
Any plans to encourage entrepreneurship in women?
Well, that's a part of the whole scheme, and women is important for the entrepreneurship and skill development industry.
The world is moving towards an innovation spree. The entrepreneurial culture is taking off in India. The number of startups in the country are growing gradually.
That being said, there's still a lot of factors which pose challenges to the growth of entrepreneurship in the country. And at this point in time, the important question to ask, are India's young ready to go that extra mile to kickstart their startups? Back in the studio, Natasha Jok finds out.
Today in our weekly face-off, we start the week. We asked, do India's young lack the entrepreneurial spirit? Someone who's for the motion is Riya Yadav from Sri Ram College. Against it is Akanksha Srivad from Kamaneru College. Thanks both so much. Riya, there are many, of course, who would perhaps agree with you. So I'll let you start first. Your 1 minute starts now. Why do you believe that we do not have what it takes to be an entrepreneur?
First of all, thank you for having me here. And honestly, I think India has an advantage with the very fact that 50% of our population is below the age of 25. Having said that, I think the reason why India is not able to reach the economic growth which it projects to reach is basically because there are not a lot of startups out there. When we say startups, we need an environment for that to develop in. So we need the government to have incubation centers, we need an entrepreneurship hub, we need stuff like that, we need a whole framework. And that is something which is not there in India. We see a lot of people from India going abroad, Singapore, Hong Kong, the United States, starting their startups there because they find it easier to find the mechanism, the required mechanism there and not in India. And I think also, apart from the whole question of the infrastructure, what's more important to note is that there's an entrepreneurship capability that needs to come from within. And not that I'm saying that Indians lack that, However, there's this ingrained cultural lack of risk-taking ability.
Right, your time's up. Right, your
Yeah.
time's up. I'll let you finish that quickly. You can finish your thought and then we'll move to a
So,
conclusion.
basically, Indians, I think they have this aversion to risk, and there's just this long drawn-out culture of having a stable job. So I think that's something also which stops us from having a
In fact,
startup.
we're going to look at that in a little more detail. But Akanksha, you of course disagree. You believe that we do have this spirit, but somehow it's not quite visible. Why do you believe that is? Your time starts now.
Hi, first of all, thank you for having me here. I think that the startup trend in India started a little late. And it's only been 10 years since internet had the technology leverage towards a business. So I think that people in India, the students, the youth, it is young, it is violent, it is free right now. And they want to go entrepreneurship skills, and they all of them have it. The kind of opportunities that government provides is the incubator cells that we have in IIT, IIM, Ahmedabad, IIT, Hyderabad, and these startups, they are growing, and that's a positive sign of it. There are startups like Setu Software, that is one of the startups from CIE, that's the incubator cell of IIT Hyderabad. It has, after the graduation of the startup, it has grown over, the revenue generated is like 7 times more, and the employment level has increased also. So, yeah, to that extent, that's what I think about the entrepreneurs.
So while although you believe that Indians have the entrepreneurial spirit, you personally, this is not what you want to pursue personally.
I don't want to pursue this personally, but yes, see, we have to accept the fact that India lacks resources. And the government of India and the people around, they need to actually work towards the kind of resources and the environment. That's why people in the Forbes list, there were 23 people from Indian origin who achieved the Young Youth Achievers Award. And
For being those young entrepreneurs, right?
Exactly. So now at this point of time, I think India needs to understand the fact that in abroad they're getting the opportunities that they're not getting in India. They're not getting the environment to work in. People are there. People who there are opportunities, and the market is developing.
Right.
And still, but people still are going outside just because of the lack of resources and opportunities.
We actually have an interesting situation where you believe that we do have the entrepreneurial spirit, you're not lacking, you believe they lack, yet you don't want to be an entrepreneur and you actually do. So this is actually is quite an interesting mix, and somehow the tables seem to have turned fairly quickly. But why do you want to get into entrepreneurship, even though you believe that most Indians perhaps lack it for a whole host of reasons?
Okay, I think I've been asked this question a lot of times, and I think I have this answer rehearsed probably. But yeah, I think the very basic reason why, I want to have my own venture or become an entrepreneur is basically to have the satisfaction of making a difference. And as cliched as that may sound, but when you have your own venture, you have the power to actually create something. And I think creators are those people who actually get the opportunity to make a difference. So to actually put the youth of India into some meaningful activity and not have them philander, and so basically I think entrepreneurship is also something which will actually start the whole cycle of this economic development which we talk about. I mean, we've projected our growth rate at 8% for the next financial year, and I really don't think that's happening if we don't have a lot of startups.
In fact, I do have stats here. A report by Yash Saxena in academia.edu says 15 lakh, that's the number of technology students that graduate out of India each year. 150, that is typically the number of startups that get funded in India every year. So there you can see the big gap in why these students are either reluctant or unable to get the opportunities that are needed. Now, you mentioned the Forbes list that has all those mostly Indian American youngsters around the age of 30 that are on that list. How do you explain that Indians doing better abroad? Again, does it come back to opportunities?
It does come back to opportunities, and right now, in the present scenario, India, the Indian institutes are giving the opportunity to the students. In CIE, again, I'll talk about IIT Hyderabad. According to their data, after every 6 months, 20 teams of people come to the incubator to lease the incubator, and these people, the heads of the incubator cells, they not only help them with the finances and infrastructure and the environment, but also help them with the legal and business solutions. So India, at a certain point, it is upcoming right now.
And the new generation is free to experiment when it comes to that. We have nothing to lose. While the established entrepreneurs, they think 1,000 times before investing in a certain, project. When it comes to youngsters, we the youth, we can easily experiment with the out of the box ideas. So like one of the ideas from the IIT Hyderabad is the clap one idea. So these people, they have created a clap one, there's a site, and you select the particular
Example, I'm going to let you finish that. Yeah, go ahead.
So they basically select the particular dress that a actress or actor wore in some movies, and then it collects the information from all over the world, the data, and then it tell you from where you can buy those things.
Right. So,
Can I add one thing?
Yes,
small
of
point?
course, you must.
Sure. So I do agree, like we have all these amazing incubation centers at elite institutes like IITs and IIMs. But having said that, that's what they are, elite institutes. I mean, when you talk about entrepreneurship, it needs to happen at the grassroots level. And I think that can happen when the whole Indian education system, we've been ingrained and trained in such a way that we've been trained to have a secure job. I mean, right from the time we start our school. So everything that we're taught, everything that we're told to do, it's all about having that one secure job.
Right, stick to the straight and
Yeah.
narrow is what you're
So I
talking
think
about.
the whole education system has kind of molded us into that sense, and entrepreneurship is something, I don't think you're born with it. And I think entrepreneurship is something which you need to you need to be taught entrepreneurship. And training in education is something which we severely lack in.